The Pebble project is alive again, and today I'm testing everything about the Pebble 2 Duo. Is it worth the hype in 2026, or is it just nostalgia doing the heavy lifting? Let's inspect.
Hey yo, so good to see you. Well, this watch, or to be more precise, its predecessor from about 10 years ago has become iconic. It received so much love online over the years that, well, that's unreal. And the formula hasn't really changed. Long battery life, playful design, notifications, calendar access, and a waterproof body. But here's the real question. Is all that enough in 2026? Because I'm gonna be honest with you, I already feel that the Pebble 2 Duo is obsolete at launch. And I'm gonna explain why. Let's go.
Let's talk about design and build quality, because this is the first thing you're going to notice. And honestly, the unboxing experience isn't very exciting. The package is extremely basic. The good news is that the box does feel like it's made from recycled materials, which I appreciate. But the moment I took the Pebble 2 Duo out of the box, I noticed something worrying. A visible dent around the lug area. That's not cool at all. It genuinely looks like the unit was handled before shipping, or I simply received a defective piece. Either way, poor quality control is the first thing that comes to mind, and that's not a great first impression. The case itself feels more like something that came out of a 3D printer. You can clearly see the stripping along the sides, and it doesn't exactly scream premium. The buttons are physical, which fits the Pebble identity, but they're not very clicky. In fact, you need to press quite hard for the input to register, and as you will see later in the review, that doesn't help the overall user experience. On a positive note, I received 2 straps in the box. Both feel nice, soft, elastic, and comfortable on the wrist. No complaints there. Now, the big talking point, the display. Pebble calls it an e-paper display. This is exactly what enables that legendary battery life. No flashy animations, no unnecessary effects, just information always visible, accompanied by a pale backlight if it is dark. Personally, if all other features were equal, I would always pick this type of display over OLED or AMOLED. It's readable, efficient, perfectly aligned with Pebble's philosophy. If you care about the tech specs, here are most of them in a nutshell. A Nordic semiconductor MCU powering the watch, a crisp 1.26-inch black and white e-paper display, built-in microphone and speaker, access to more than 10,000 apps and watch faces, up to 30 days on theory of battery life per charge, barometer and compass sensors, and yeah, a smartphone app that actually works well.
The specs are a very interesting mix of outdated hardware and pure nostalgia, wrapped in unusually honest communication. That combination is rare, and it's the first time in years I've seen a company openly listing very specific internal components. For example, the Nordic semiconductor MCU used inside, and it was originally announced back in late 2016, which is almost, well, close to 9-10 years ago. So when some people say that Eric Migichovsky simply reused all Pebble 2 parts, I don't fully agree. I don't think it's about leftovers. I think it's very deliberately aimed at the nostalgia factor. And from that perspective, it's actually well thought out. This approach is radically different from what most other brands are doing today. That said, yes, from pure hardware standpoint, this is a flop. Even compared to modern fitness trackers, it's a flop, no question about it. But for software, I think that's where things start to get quite interesting.
Let's talk about the biggest bottleneck, the navigation. If you wear the watch on your left wrist, it feels okay-ish, but if you wear it on your right wrist, controlling 3 buttons with just your thumb feels awkward and unintuitive. And I'll admit here, I mostly wear my watches on the left, so feel free to correct me in the comments if you experience otherwise. There's no touch input here, everything is button-based, the entire interface is designed around that limitation. Out-of-the-box health tracking is extremely basic. Steps are tracked. Honestly, this is the feature that brings it closest to being a smartwatch. But accuracy? Not quite there yet, despite we're talking about 6-axis motion detection. If you're hoping for workout modes, SpO2, HRV, stress tracking, recovery metrics, forget it. That's completely outside the scope of this device. And the moment you want to go beyond steps and notifications, things get messy. You have to dive into the App Store. Yes, there are tons of apps, but quantity does not equal quality. There are timer apps, some are great, some are borderline useless. There are thousands of watch faces, but some are paid, especially some of the good ones. And even worse, some of them simply stop working after just a few hours unless you pay to the developer. That's even more annoying than Wear OS watch faces, where at least you usually get a proper trial period. Sure, there are hundreds of excellent free options, but let's be real, this requires time for research, a lot of time. And in 2026, most people expect useful features out of the box, not after hours of experimenting. Oh, for the record, you can find a list with my favorite 10 in the video description area. Keep in mind that those of them that keep changing all the time, for example counting the seconds, are going to drain the battery a little quicker. Speaking of which, the Pebble 2 Duo needs around 12 to 15% a day, and with the battery-savvy ones, if you don't use the backlight too often, maybe a little more than 2 weeks are possible. Charging happens using this quite weird-looking pogo pin setup. And if you want more stats about the battery, as we mentioned, there are apps. Yeah, you can add plenty of them, and the workflow itself is rather simple. Open the smartphone app, browse the app list, get to choose, install, done. Just don't expect anything close to Apple's Watch OS or Google's Wear OS. This operating system is extremely basic and lightweight. Some apps are fun, but everything feels fragmented. As mentioned, there is no unified health dashboard. The watch can just show you your sleeping times in a very inaccurate way. There are no modern insights, no trend analysis, just steps shown on the watch face. As mentioned, usually severely overcounted. With exception for the settings menu, the Pebble 2 Duo feels rather disconnected from the current wearable UX standards. Because of what Pebble represents, I don't feel comfortable listing traditional drawbacks. My respect for what Pebble brought to the community is simply way too big. And knowing that this watch might never really reach mainstream retail channels, it feels fair to treat it differently, almost like a special project rather than a mass-marketed product. That said, from my point of view, the Pebble 2 Duo is late to the party. Yes, it is a legendary name. Yes, it keeps many of these really outstanding, loved things that we so much enjoyed about the original Pebbles. But the smartwatch landscape has changed dramatically, and this is a niche product for enthusiasts, people who enjoy tinkering, experimenting, diving deep into software quirks. Outside of that, the Pebble 2 Duo feels basic, somewhat boring, and maybe a bit cheap. But maybe that's exactly where its charm lies. What do you think? Are you ready to jump on the hype train? Or does this feel like milking the community one last time? Let me know in the comments. I'm Michael, thank you very much for watching this episode, and invite you to subscribe and get notified about my next tech reviews. See ya!